My master Shivabalayogi, after his 12 years of tapas from 1949 to 1961, on the day of 7th August, the Divine God appeared before him, the Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva means the existence in eternity, in total thoughtlessness state. That is Lord Shiva. So he appeared as a Jangama sage with matted hair and made my master, who was just 14 years old, to sit for tapas. Tapas is a state of highest pitch of the meditation practice, where one sits for more than 8 to 10 hours at a stretch by closing the eyes and trying to keep the mind under discipline, total control into one position, single-pointedly, without allowing it to go into a craving, running like a monkey in this world. So that is how a person becomes capable of doing tapas. Perhaps the Divine chose this young boy because he was a born mighty soul. His qualities always said so. He was honest, hard-working, and a determined stubbornness was always there. Means, if he had to achieve something, he used to hang on to it, come what may be, even if it is death. No problem. Either death, either do it or die. That was his motivation since childhood. That was how he was coming up in his worldly life at an young age of 8, 10, 11, 12 also. When others would be simply playing on the streets or just blissfully ignorance of this world's hardships, this young boy had come to be known that they were experiencing poverty for a while because his father had passed away when he was 6 months old. His mother was trying to help the family of 4 children. Swamiji was the youngest one. When he understood that they were poor because of that, his mother had to work. At the age of 5, he understood this. But he became determined. He did not get panicked. He did not start crying. He understood that. He realized this is only a circumstance, a situation which I should be able to overcome by hard working. Let me work for that. Let me give some happiness to my mother and other siblings. He dropped out of the school. He started working. He worked double. He was born to a weaver's family. That was the working profession in the small hamlet that he was born. He worked double the speed of all others. If one person had taken to weave one sari or a dhoti or one piece of cloth in 1 hour or 2 hours, he used to do 2 or 4 pieces of cloth in the same hour. So vigorously, with such a concentration of mind, hardly he worked. Probably because of all these reasons, the Divine chose him so that he can show the world that any human being should be able to do it if only one is determined, has that discipline, has that patience. Not that the Divine came and gave him a spoon feeding of self-realization without doing anything. The Divine simply made him to sit for tapas. Afterwards, 12 years, that young boy did the tapas. That was the hardest possible work. A final battle for a human to win over the mind. Like the old saying, if you win the whole world and lose to yourself, you have lost the battle. But if you can win over yourself, even if you lose the whole world, you have won the battle. That's how I always tell that practicing this meditation is the final battle for every human. To take this mind under control, keep it conditioned, disciplined, so that it can remain balanced. Otherwise, you see, it is always brooding about the past or is anxious about the future. It is seldom into the presence. This is what makes one unhappy, tense, always having a fear of what's going to happen. That's the ghost, the mind, because mind wants something at all times. It demands, otherwise it's going to give you torturous moments, anxious moments, stress. So much of mental consciousness is on the brain, the load is on the brain. That was what I was trying to tell, how you can heal yourself physically also. When you practice meditation, you shall be withdrawing this mind's load on the brain and taking it under your control. So, whenever you want to think, you can apply this brain, live in this world a beautiful life of yoga. When you don't want to think, you can keep it quiet. That becomes possible when you practice samadhi yoga. When you practice this meditation, which my master wanted to call Jangama Dhyana, in honor of the divine Shiva who came to him in the form of a Jangama sage. Jangama means eternal existence. That's what my master explained to us. He had appeared from the fruit which had taken shape of a Shivalingam. This was such an amazing, wondrous experience that he had. Many intellectual people have asked me this question when I had been touring all over the world. How are you sure that God appeared before him when he was 14 years old and even after he became 26 years old and he had completed his tapas? Because nobody else saw. Nobody else had this experience. About 10 to 12 of his friends were also there who were having a bath in the canal bund and who were trying to play. But this boy had seen this and he had sat in lotus posture without any movement of the body. He wouldn't open his eyes and move the body even when the village boys and other people who did not like him, his honesty or his hard working, his development, they were jealous of him, tried to wake him up by beating with canes and stones, throwing stones. He would not move. With steadfastness he sat quietly, absorbed in that self, having that beautiful experience of the Atman, that soul, that eternal existence, immortality that he was. He always was experiencing. And later he moved to the graveyard because the village urchins were trying to trouble him very hardly. Imagine the human jealousy can go to that extent. Some boys had dipped a cloth in the kerosene oil and putting it on his legs, 4 fingers, they had put it on fire, so his skin had burned when he was sitting absorbed in deep meditation yoga. His mother served him, looked after his body as much as possible. Swamiji was determined. He was totally absorbed in meditation. He said, if anything has to happen to this body, let it happen. Because now I have understood that I am going to gain that amazing, that wondrous existence of my spiritual eternity, immortality. He was convinced because that divine figure was coming in front of him. That was how he was destined. Because whenever we or anybody asked him any question, why did you do this, why did you do this? He used to simply tell, I went on doing as my divine master, as the Dhyanamurti, the master of my meditation, guided me to do it. He had no other wishes. He did not ask God for money. He did not do tapas for achieving any other siddhi powers. He did not want to show any magic or miracles to this world. He quietly completed and saw God in the form of Shiva Parvati coming in front of him. And he did not ask them for any boons or any wealth or power or status for anything. He asked God, if you have anything, ask me to do it. I am ready to do it for you because I don't have any wishes. Because God said, you can go and do anything in this world. Your tapas is finished. Now your mind is not going to involve in this world. You are the liberated one, you are the enlightened one, you are that realized soul now. For an ordinary person, you see, whatever you go on doing in this world, the actual trouble starts to you when your mind gets involved. Tomorrow morning you have to get up, suppose you have to earn a livelihood, you have to work. That is really no problem, you can always do it. But if the mind starts going into an anxiousness now itself, if it starts worrying, it's going to give you unhappy moments. It's going to give you a lot of stress. How am I going to do it tomorrow? How am I going to work? How long is this going to be? How long I keep in this body? What all I can give to this body? Not one or thousands and billions of thoughts would be coming. But if you practice this meditation, you can neutralize this mind. This mind is the consciousness of existence. That is how God exists, as a supreme consciousness of existence, as all-pervading, omnipresent and omnipotent. From that only the divine manifested as Lord Shiva. The divine guided and wanted this young yogi, one of the greatest yogis that India has produced. If you have read Lord Buddha, Ramakrishna Paramahansa and Ramana Maharishi, in the same way my master did the tapas. And when the divine wanted that Swamiji, you teach this meditation to the people of this world, try to take this to every doorstep. Do not discriminate whether they are poor, they are rich, whether they are intelligent or ignorant, or whether they are powerful or a common, any person, anybody, whoever is interested, whoever comes in front of you, initiate them into this meditation. You shall have this power. That was how for 33 years, from 1961 to 1994, until when he dropped his physical body in his native hamlet of Adivarapupeta. It was a small hamlet in the coastal Andhra Pradesh state of southern India, where there are poor people, but they are innocent, they are God-fearing, they are lovely, they are generous. They go out of way to show hospitality to the visitors. In that small place, well, after some time of tapas, some devotees had formed. They had built a small temple for this young boy to sit inside and do the tapas. That's where he completed his tapas. And then he installed Shiva Parvati there, their idols, and established a small ashram also. That is where he dropped his physical body in 1994, and his Mahasamadhi temple also situated in that ashram complex. So as the divine wanted him to do, though he did not have any wishes, he could have remained quiet and at peace in a corner of this world, but he undertook tours on the invitation of devotees with all the difficulties that he had to face with this human world of lust and greed, anger and jealousy, false pride. My master once, he was talking to me and told, it was very easy for me to do tapas. 12 years simply passed by because my mind remained quiet, absorbed in the self at all times. But afterwards, when I wanted to do the mission work amongst the human beings, that was the real eating up. Because human beings very often tend to be selfish, narrow-minded, having conflict all the times, feeling insecure. This insecurity is one of the basic reasons of conflicts in this world. That is why Swamiji always advised, practice this meditation and know who you are. You shall know this fact and you shall have the first-hand knowledge only when you experience.